everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dee, and as always, this is my BFF and feline life mate, Stud. Today, we're rowing back over to Watts Island because we wanted to explore a sensitive but important aspect of this case. As we all know, despite some unpopular opinions, Shanann Watts was a loving mother who cared deeply for her daughters, Bella and Celeste. She often shared her life and their journey on social media, giving us a glimpse into their family dynamic. However, some have wondered about the children's health conditions and the level of attention they seem to require. Could there have been more to the story? Could Shanann's advocacy for her daughters been misunderstood? And what role did dead shark eyes having Chris Watts' reported lack of awareness play in all of this? Before we dive in, I want to emphasize that this video is not about placing blame or making accusations. You know I am not about that life. Instead, I thought we can explore these questions with open-minded curiosity and respect for everyone involved. If it doesn't shine a favorable light on Shanann, I apologize in advance because that's not my intention. I'm truly exploring here. Let's get started. It's no secret that Shanann frequently shared updates about her daughter's health. In her posts, she mentions various symptoms and concerns, including what she believed might be a rare genetic condition called familial Mediterranean fever, or FMF. Much like Shanann, I had never heard of this before, so I had to look it up. Apparently, FMF is an inherited disorder that causes recurring episodes of fever and inflammation, often in the abdomen, chest, or joints. It's classified as an autoinflammatory syndrome characterized by recurrent episodes of inflammation due to an abnormality of the innate immune system, and these episodes are often accompanied by fever and sometimes a rash or headache. Why their doctor thought the girls may have FMF? I have no idea. I just know she joined FMF Facebook groups looking for support and, as per doctor's orders, often took the girls' temperatures in order to track them. There's no posts about FMF after these, so I don't know if Shanann ever really got a formal diagnosis. As a parent, Shanann was clearly her kids' strongest advocate, ensuring that their health concerns were addressed and managed. This level of involvement is something many parents of children with chronic illnesses or rare conditions can relate to. But familial Mediterranean fever is not a common condition. It primarily affects people of Mediterranean descent, although it's possible that it can occur in other populations. As mentioned, symptoms can include fever, pain, and swelling, often without an obvious trigger, but I don't recall Shanann talking about pain or swelling in the girls. For a parent, seeing these symptoms can be incredibly distressing, and I would think she would have mentioned it in a post or during a live. In any event, the mention of FMF trails off by the end of 2016, and she doesn't post about any follow-up or further genetic testing in the girls. At least, not that I can find. Anyway, while Shanann was advocating for their health, Chris seemed to express a lack of awareness about his daughter's health issues. According to reports, he mentioned during interrogations that he wasn't fully informed about their conditions or their treatments. Whether Shanann kept him in the dark intentionally, or he just didn't give a shit, it's up for interpretation. This disconnect might reflect differences in parenting roles, a common dynamic where one parent is more hands-on with medical and daily care responsibilities. But it also raises questions about how this dynamic may have impacted their family life and, ultimately, the tragic events that followed. One question that has often come up in discussions about the case is whether Shanann's focus on her daughter's health could suggest something more, menacing. Munchausen syndrome by proxy, or MSP, is a rare condition in which a caregiver exaggerates or induces illness in their dependents for attention or validation. For what it's worth, Munchausen syndrome by proxy is now called factitious disorder imposed on another, or FDIA. Sorry, Baron Munchausen. Now, there's no evidence to suggest that Shanann had MSP. Advocating for your children's health, especially in the face of a potentially rare condition, is not the same as exhibiting this syndrome. But just for funsies, take a look at this spreadsheet. It was put together by a now defunct YouTube channel called Autopsia. I know they are pretty difficult to read, but it shows the number of times Shanann posted on Facebook that the girls were sick, and in some instances, what exactly was wrong. The number of times they are ill or faced with something more serious is kind of nuts, if I'm being honest. Were they really this sick? I mean, I can't say for sure. I'm not their mom or their doctor. But the number of times Shanann claimed they were sick is kind of concerning. What do you think? Was she overreacting? Were the kids really just this sickly? Being a parent to a child with potential chronic illnesses can be emotionally and physically draining. I can't imagine it being two. The stress of constantly seeking answers, dealing with medical professionals, and managing symptoms can take a serious toll. I was a pretty sick kid for a while myself. Nothing major, but I had chronic constipation, croup, and strep throat to the point I had to have my adenoids removed, which did the trick for all of my illnesses except for being backed up all the time, but that's a story for another day. Also, as a mom of 3 grown kids, one of which was a very adventurous boy, we spent plenty of time at the doctor's and even the ER on occasion. But I will say this, neither my sister nor I, nor any of my kids, have ever shared a diagnosis. Illnesses, sure, but a diagnosis? No. Regardless of my business or what I think, one thing's for sure. Shanann's social media posts suggest she was deeply committed to ensuring Bella and Cece receive the best care possible. Some might interpret this as overzealous, but for many parents, this level of dedication is simply what love looks like. One of the more striking aspects of this case is the information gleaned from the autopsy reports. Typically, when an autopsy is performed, any significant or remarkable findings, such as organ damage or abnormalities, are documented in detail. Shanann had shared on social media that she was living with lupus, a serious autoimmune disease that can affect multiple organs and tissues. While she credited her use of Thrive products with helping manage her symptoms, there's no mistaking that lupus often leaves lasting damage on the body. However, according to her autopsy, there were no notable signs of organ damage or complications typically associated with lupus, though her autopsy did show some arterial sclerosis, and that is the most common cardiovascular disease in people with lupus. Similarly, there were no remarkable findings for Bella and Celeste either. Conditions like ear tubes, enlarged adenoids, or other notable health concerns would most likely have been documented, yet the reports describe them as typically healthy. Could they have been healed at the time of their deaths? Again, it's possible. While it's natural to ask questions, we must be careful not to confuse speculation with fact. Shanann's devotion to her daughters and her role as their advocate should be acknowledged and respected. At the same time, examining family dynamics and individual behaviors can help us better understand the complexities of cases like this. And that's my point. In the end, this case reminds us how layered and complex family relationships can be. Shanann was a mother who loved her children fiercely, and that love drove her to advocate for them tirelessly. While it's important to ask questions, it's equally important to approach them with compassion and a desire to learn rather than judge. Thank you for joining me in Stud today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about these questions? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next discussion. Take care, and we'll see you next time. TTFN. Ta-ta for now.